Oh, hi you guys, and welcome to today's show. Today, we are going back into the land of button-popping shenanigans and other fantasticness. Before we go round the crew, a few things from me, as always. First of all, here are our social links. There you can find our Twitter, our Discord, and our YouTube, all of which are amazing places to be following. And if you want to DM me on Twitter, you can get into one of our many viewer games. Thanks, Justin. Yeah, that's 100% true. I was sort of like looking at it like, yeah. Discord, guys, it's an amazing community. Get in there. Everyone looks after each other. It's beautiful. I'm always proud to brag about my Discord community. It's just so beautiful, and we don't tolerate any trolls. We are now full-time, which means we are being supported in several ways, and we very much appreciate said support. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see our monthly cost goal. We are over halfway as of today, so thank you all so much for your donations. It's an incredible feeling. We're bang on target. 15 days to go and half of the goal. Couldn't ask for more. We also have thank you. We also have Patreon. We also have merchandise, and as of yesterday, we have a brand new sponsor in Bird in the Storm Productions, or publishing rather. There's their information for now, but in the new year you can expect to see some of their content being played between episodes, so the channel will be live longer and we will be showing off some of that beautiful hunk tool score and the cast that he puts together. What else have we got? We've got a tweet today. If you guys would like to tweet, every 10 retweets, Derek, we do Wild Magic Surges on this show, right? You're muted, Derek.
We do, yes.
Yes, good. I can never remember. Yes! That is all, my friends. Derek, would you like to take over the stream?
I suppose I might, if you really trust me with it. So...
Yeah, no, that's a terrible plan, actually, yeah.
So, why don't we go around? I should start seeing fingers on noses, I think. If you guys want to go around starting with... we'll start with Scrat. If you want to tell us, who your character is, what they're up to, what's going on.
I am Kel Somat. I have honor without end. And occasionally a few stab wounds. That seems to be the recurring theme. However, I am a chancer, a Bengal lancer, and a knight of all that is unorthodox and shady. Hey, I'm a good man. I'm currently in prison. No context.
Getting there, yeah. We'll bring it over to Natalie or Rhiannon.
So, Rhea is way more richer than she was previously. That was excellent. She is a criminal performer. She has been kind of just dancing around while stealing coin from apparently musketeers. That's fine. And is with Grigory and Layla behind a tavern, I think, after talking to some creepy dude.
Indeedly so. Speaking of Layla, how's Layla doing?
Hey. Okay, she managed to not get sent to jail. So, I mean, that's always a good thing. There you go, done. Yes.
And that's decided. Okay.
Yeah, so she's doing okay. She's pretty good. She's a little bit confused about what the hell's going on and what she's doing, and she's met these two random people that she's now kind of just hanging around with because she doesn't really know what else to do. So
yeah, and among those wonderful people that she's met is Grigory, right? How's Grigory doing right now? What's going through his mind?
He's slightly perturbed after being set upon by the town guards. But other than that, the creepy guy outside the inn has definitely got under his skin, and not in a fun kind of way. Yeah, very, very unnerved. But overall, it's been quite nice to actually meet some people that don't immediately look at him like he's a thug.
Excellent.
He's a bit of a thug.
Okay. And before we get into introducing our newest character on the board, Natalie, if you could do us the favor, seeing as you kind of lost out there, can you recap everything that's going on for us?
best as I can remember, because that's as good as it gets. So, I mean, okay, do I have to recount everything for Cells? Because nobody knows really what happened with him besides the fact that he ended up in jail.
That works.
And filled with
That
holes.
is the very short version of that one.
We could use it as a sieve.
Because he was away from all of us. So he started off in somebody else's room, and then, long story short, ended up with a lot of weapons and ended up in jail.
Yeah, that covers it. But he
Pretty
was
much
fantastic the entire time and irresistible.
There were so many buttons popped.
Mhm.
So many.
Could have been carrying around a little bag of buttons.
Yeah,
It's a
Somebody
sack.
lost an eye. Yeah.
I think somebody did
Dragging
lose
it
an
out.
eye.
Did
And then
he
for the
stop
rest
and
of
sew them
us-
back on.
No, he just has extras.
They're actually like Velcro buttons.
There, yeah.
Like one of the stripper outfits
Yeah.
that are just Velcro, but they're not. They're Velcro buttons.
And then the rest of
Horrendous.
us, Rhea, Layla, and Gregory managed to find each other because they each got a letter saying, hey, if you do something for me, I can give you XYZ, whatever. That each of us had something we were kind of after. I mean, I guess Cel's got something along the same lines as a message, but that clearly wasn't important. So then the three of us try to get more information on this, kind of end up in a bar fight. Grigory puts a giant, what was it, bench on top of a bunch of musketeers. Layla almost gets arrested. Rhea gets a lot of gold. We team up again behind a tavern that we're supposed to meet at later that night, meet a creepy dude, and that's pretty much it.
I forgot about the creepy dude.
Oh, I did not
Yeah.
forget about the creepy dude.
Ugh.
I really did not.
Well, I mean, hey, if you were able to sleep tightly, for about a full week without thinking that guy, good for you.
Impressive.
So, which brings us to our newest challenger, a young lady from the Highland Marches, if I'm not mistaken. All right. So go ahead and Aras, if you could introduce us to Una, please.
This is Una Nickmab. She is a lady, the only daughter of 5 children from the McMab clan. She's kind of been given, duties to always be the nice one and polite, and she's been raised to be a wife and a mother, but she doesn't really want that. She stands about 5'9", 5'10"-ish, short, curly brown hair, kind of like Alice's hair actually was my inspiration there. She's kind of got a boyish figure. She never really fit the dresses that her family tried to put her into, but she wore them anyways. And what part of town is she in right now?
Well, earlier that day, as you had arrived, you would have received a very strange letter in a very well prim and pressed envelope with a seal of a peacock on it. And it was delivered to you by a very strange, very almost kind of like, it came off as a bit of a noble, but at the same time sort of militaristic. There's this very prim and proper and focused demeanor about the man, dressed very much like a sort of butler or a major domo who delivered this letter to you. And upon reading it, it said, my dear Una, it is with good graces, I hope that this letter finds you. My son, Gabriel, has spoke of you often and fondly, except now we find ourselves in a most dire matter, that Gabriel needs your help. Please come to the Renard Elie at dusk in Charus in Montaigne.
Okay.
And you probably would have gotten here, maybe seen as a little bit more of a haul for you, I imagine, coming from the Highland Marches. You would have
Yeah.
gotten here a little bit later in the day.
Okay. Well, did I already have somewhere to stay and everything like that?
Well, you know that the Renardelli is a tavern, a little bit higher end. You've heard of a couple places, the Junction Dog, the Raging Fire, which is apparently a nice place despite its name. The Cornucopia, which is another decent tavern. So there's been a few options. What type of place would you prefer? Would you prefer something higher end, or would you prefer to kind of?
She would probably go higher middle end,
Okay.
but stay out of like the super wealthy areas. If she's on her own, she would travel more like a commoner, but still not going into any places she would get in trouble being in.
Okay, awesome.
Because she understands her station.
So the Cornucopia would have been a perfect fit. Sort of like a very like nice, modest bed and breakfast. The staff are all very pleasant individuals, mostly from Montaigne. A couple people here and there, you detect Avalonian accents. And that's actually where you would have been handed this letter, I would think.
Okay.
Almost like the man was waiting for you. So, after you got the letter, what would you have gotten roughly, what would you have spent your day doing up until dusk?
First I would have, how many hours do I have?
You would have had, assuming that you stayed the night, waking up at about a healthy 8 o'clock or 8 a.m. or so, you would have had majority of the day.
Oh, okay. Well, then I probably would have gone and checked out some shops around there, just to see if there's any gifts I want to bring back to my brothers. And probably also going down and looking around the docks and seeing if there are any interesting looking ships.
Oh, I bet. Kels, what does your ship look like as it sits there in the dock?
Let's see. I think it'll be a Spanish galleon.
Castilian.
Yeah, a Castilian galleon. It has one row of cannons on each side. Large purple sails with buttons down the center. A beautiful woman for the headpiece, who is a mermaid, of course, bringing the ship luck. The wheel will be wrapped in straps of leather, and like proper Castilian leather, with the embroidery, much like my boots, studded all the way around as well, pinned to studded. Not only this, the decks are not well swabbed. It looks a bit of a mess. The crew's a bit slapshod. But it is my ship, and I will defend it to my grave.
Oh, I'm definitely going to that ship.
So you stand outside the ship, and the crew, mostly Castilian, Kels?
Sorry?
The crew of your ship, they're mostly Castilian in nationality?
No. They are all men with fantastic moustaches and chest hair, no matter where they're from.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That is my entry
Is
requirement.
that your criteria?
That is my criteria, moustaches
That
and
is
chest hair.
very specific.
Do you have
Fan.
a crew?
I'm surprised there is one.
Yeah, I have 3 men. Hence why
There's
the deck's
3.
looking a bit
There's
shoddy.
just 3 of them?
I see.
Okay.
We tried
That
getting
explains
some.
everything.
We tried getting some female crew members, but they didn't really seem interested in hanging around.
I can't imagine why.
No idea at all.
Well,
I'm
seeing this,
starting to rethink going up there now.
It's too late.
I
You're
I
invested.
figured it was a normal looking crew. Seeing that, I'm going to like nope out of that. She's gonna be like, no. She's
She
gonna
gets like
find
halfway up
another.
and she's like, nah.
She gets close enough to see, and she's
Oh, there'll
Uh,
definitely be someone standing there
turns
doing the
around on
whole
gangplank
oh
and
yeah,
goes
moustache,
back
like,
down.
"Milady."
it is and from what you could tell by his accent, an Avalonian guy. He has this sort of long, flowing, kind of Fabio-like hair. This very nicely groomed mustache, not quite as nice as the captain's, but it kind of curls up in a little bit. And he says, "Why, hello there. I couldn't help but see you looking. At the ship, of course, my dear, at the ship. Hello, my name's Daniel. I am one of but 3 humble crew members of this here. What's the ship's name?
The the salty spray.
Of course
That
it
is
is.
the bomb you just handed me. Okay. I am but one of 3 humble crew members of this here, the good salty spray.
Kind of wrinkles her nose. She's
Oh.
like, I thought you were another ship. I'm gonna. go."
His shirt pops open a little bit. Are you sure? There's plenty of room here.
Nope, that's fine. I've got a friend waiting this way. Bye.
Well, come
And she
back when you have.
turns around and walks very quickly away.
In the distance, you hear him say, "Well, come back when you have time for a little bit of a salty spray, yeah?"
Her face is beet red. She is almost running away from the docks now. He's fully chased her away.
As he kind of looks off you into the distance, he says, turns to one of the other men. Oh, damn. Another good one goes, I'm afraid. I'm an Italian, Vestachian. I just pulled a scratch. Vestachian man with curly black hair and a much thinner mustache, but still well groomed. It comes down to a pointed goatee and says, well, what can you do? I mean, sometimes the girls run, and it's kind of a shit choice of name, though. But I mean, we shouldn't have drank so much when we agreed on the name. Oh yes, well, I'm afraid you're right, Marco. I wonder what the captain's up to, anyways. And with that, we pan to Kells, who is being thrown into a small room with a bed. There is a number of small dishes and implements and trays on it, right next to it on a side table. And the 2 musketeers that have you in either arm kind of just throw you. They make sure you don't land on your bullet wound, but you do land kind of hard on this rather unforgiving cot.
Now, chaps, there's no need for all that.
They groan and they shut the door.
We've hit 10 retweets as well, by the way.
Oh, awesome. Oh, goody. So, seeing as this is my first wild magic search that I've ever been in control of, other than that one time in Unity Bay, I'm gonna roll a D5 and go around. So let's see here. Scrat is 1, Natalie is 2, Jay is 3, Alex is 4, and Aras is 5. Whatever happens to you is not my fault. That looks like a 3. Okie dokie then. So
The magic number is 485. Please roll a 1d 485.
okay, here we go. 485.
Well, Jay could roll it herself. Actually, that would be.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I don't want to be responsible for this.
What am I doing?
Oh.
Roll 20.
Yeah, I know that.
Roll
1D.
485.
Oh God.
Oh, that is what you said.
259.
Oh no, not 259.
Anything but that.
That's like the worst one.
Well, crap.
No, surely 69 has to be the worst one.
Especially if you're on that ship still.
Oh my god, we should never start the ship. Oh, neat. Okay, groovy. All right, awesome. So we're gonna hold on to that one for a hot second.
Yay.
Kels, you hear some chatter outside. He is in there. Don't listen to what he says, and by all means, do not give in to his reputation, says one of them. And you hear a distinctly female voice. Yes, I'm sure it will be fine. Now let me in, please. And the door opens. A beautiful woman from you can tell immediately by her build. Very angular face, tall, very pale skin, clearly from the Sumerian Commons out in the east. And she says, "You're, I assume, my patient?"
So, in the time between hearing the woman's voice and her walking in, I have set myself up on the table, so I'm like leaning on it like this. And as she walks in, Madame!
She says, "Please turn over. I know you have a bullet wound. There's nothing in there."
I am, of course, injured. Have you come to be my savior, to rescue me?
I am a physician, and I will try to do whatever it is that will make you get out of my sight as quickly as possible.
I can think of many useful things. Plenty of services that will aid us greatly in the next few minutes.
She walks over to you, and she says, "Please recline."
Recline. I shall do so. Slowly.
Okay. All right. As usual, you're taking a little bit too long, and with a firm hand, she takes your shoulder and shoves you back onto the cot.
Oh, so firm.
She rolls her eyes, and she immediately begins looking. Yeah, at the wound. She goes, "Well,
Would
you're
you
lucky
like me to remove my shirt?
Yes, it doesn't look like there is anything caught in it."
I just flex my pec muscles and like another button pops off, like...
Like the scene from Bruce Almighty.
Pretty soon it's just gonna have a shirt made of buttons. So
It-
just pop off.
It bounces off her modest brown leather corset, and when she looks down at it, and she's just kind of annoyed. You're not worried about you bleeding out?
No, I find that worrying about those sorts of things only makes them happen faster.
That perhaps might be the smartest thing you may ever say, she says as she begins to move the shirt away from the wound. And she says, "Now stay still." And she says, "Actually, first," and she pours you a small glass of a very rich amber alcohol. It smells immediately, it hits you immediately in the nose. It smells very strong, and she hands it over to you. You're going to want to
Ah.
drink that.
I did not realize that I would be served beverages during this encounter. Truly, I am one of the luckiest men in all of Montagne.
Is this the first time you've ever been mortally wounded?
No.
Wow, they must have really hated you, she says as she watches you take the glass.
I put it on my cheek, I roll it across to my mouth, shut it back, roll it to the other side, and then remove it in the fanciest way I can possibly take a shot.
One of her blonde eyebrows just quivers in irritation. She says, "Do you not remember me?"
Of course I remember you.
Uh-huh. So what's my name?
No, do not play funny games with me. You never gave me your name.
Wow, I'm surprised you remember that much. She says as she pulls a long instrument. She says,
Oh.
"You're going to not want to look. It is going to be rather disgusting as I pull this bullet out of your chest, and then we're going to have to sew it, and you don't look like the type to deal with squeamish things, and for the sake of myself, I will not make you watch
Oh,
it."
no, please. I would enjoy to watch. I laugh in the face of danger.
She sighs, and you feel a sharp pain in your shoulder. Lee begins digging around, and I'm going to try to keep this as non-graphic as possible. And it hurts. It stings. The alcohol dulls it a little bit, and she says, "You and my older sister had a fling for a little while.
Yes.
It was somewhere in Vodace."
Yes, of course, I remember.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you remember a girl, Irina?
Yes, Irina, of course. How could I forget? Those are some of the happiest days of my life.
Uh-huh. It was about the course of an evening.
Yes, the happiest evening of my life.
And you feel a sharp pain as it almost feels like a pressure is relieved. And you hear a clatter as the ball bearing rolls onto a silver tray at the bedside table.
I believe you have saved my life.
Yes. Damn Hippocratic oath, she says as she goes and grabs a set of sewing needles. So, what have you been up to in the however many countless months that I have not been happy to know that you're still around?
Well, of course, I have been keeping myself busy, ensuring that I do not upset anyone, keeping my nose clean, helping the weak and innocent.
You feel a sharp tug as you say that. Innocence. Yes. I remember innocence is much better preserved when you're actually preserving people's innocence.
Oh, please, you misunderstand me.
Yes, because if I recall correctly, Irina misunderstood you too.
No, that was not a misunderstanding as such. That was a unfortunate series of events which led to the unfortunate circumstances at the end.
Okay. Well, that is certainly great and everything. And with a final tug, she says, "Don't do anything to stress this. I don't want to have to see you again."
Oh, you don't want to meet me over dinner? I have a fine, I've forgotten the name of the place, Italian wine.
She says, "Vodaccia is the word you're looking for."
Yes, Vodaccian wine. Very deep.
Yes.
Very red.
Yes, and I believe that was the same drink you broke my sister's heart over.
No. I do not break hearts. Unfortunately, I had to be whisked away. You see, I was enlisted with the army.
She nods, and with that she says, "Well, take care." And she gives you a quick and brisk pat right on your freshly sutured wound. And she stands up. She says, "Captain Samat, I wish you a good evening. As far as I know, these gentlemen want to speak to you."
Yes, of course. Thank you. You still have not given me your name.
She turns. "Marina, but you can call me Doctor, because I imagine I'm going to see your wounded self here much more often."
Oh, Marina. Light of my life, of course.
As you're saying that, the door shuts. Just you hear the iron sound of it close.
As soon as the door shuts, I want to grab the bed and push it in front of the door.
Okay. You do. As the door, the cot is slid in front of the door. And you "What the hell was that?"
Okay, assessing the room. Barred windows?
Yes.
Okay, any loose brickwork around? Perhaps a high window that no one would think anyone could climb to?
No high window. Brickwork is pretty stable. It looks like they keep this garrison in pretty good shape.
God damn it. Okay, in that case, I will give the bars on the window a quick test.
Okay. So as our camera from the outside, you see, we see Kel shaking the bar, trying to figure his way out. We cut back to Una. Dusk has set, and it is at the Renard Ailey that you see three perplexed-looking individuals, all from very differing backgrounds. As a red mist now lightly disperses through the crowd, it almost smells of metal and sort of dampness as you kind of are almost forced to walk through it as you heard a loud, almost otherworldly screech. But they look at you. Yeah, sorry.
I heard a loud otherworldly screech.
As you approach it.
Walking through mist.
Yeah, there's sort of this screech. The mist kind of came after it. As the crowd clears, you see three very perturbed-looking individuals. One very tall, for the sake of reintroduction, can you describe Gregory for me, Alex?
Yeah. So he is very, very tall, and equally wide, muscle-bound, basically a not a giant, but close enough, peaking 7 feet tall. He has fists like great mauls and legs like tree trunks. He is balding slightly, with a very thick beard, and looks very, very menacing and intimidating. That's about it, really. Likes benches.
So then next to him, Layla. Go ahead and tell us what Layla looks like.
So she's about 5'8"-ish, 5'8", 5'9", quite slim, very long brown wavy hair, wearing a corset, quite a long coat. Not much else particularly. Got a couple of scars around from what looks like kind of fighting, like close combat kind of fighting with people.
Okay, so pretty nondescript then, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, almost too nondescript. And Rhiannon, next to Layla.
Shortest of them all, with just short, bright red hair and bright blue eyes, mostly clothed in what looks like a lot of different fabrics, different like colors and shape and patterns and whatnot, draped and kind of put together as sort of a dress. You can't see. She has a bit of a jingle to her as she moves. Might be coins, probably coins.
Definitely coins.
Definitely coins. And yeah, she's there kind of just smiling because she's always smiling, always up to something.
Hey. So you see these three strange individuals in front of you, Una. And as you arrive, the man that gave you the letter emerges from the Nardelli. Ah, yes, it is about time. Strange. Fate has such a very bizarre way of working. And as he looks about to you lot, he says, I am expecting one Gregory, Layla, Rhiannon, and Una, all present, yes?
Indeed.
Yep, sounds right.
Yes.
He pushes through his slick back black hair. His long curved nose kind of almost guides his face like a hawk as he looks around to the crowd. Where is the stupid one? There's supposed to be a stupid one.
Well, we haven't met him yet, so can't really help you. More specific than stupid. Maybe we have seen him. I mean, we met some other people earlier. Actually, now that I think of it.
Maybe he's taking a kip under a bench.
I was gonna say.
It was.
If you said he's stupid, he might not have been able to find the place.
It is none other than the magnanimous Kelsomat. If you have heard of him, I am deeply sorry, and I am not sure why he is included on our guest list for the evening.
Do you know why we're included?
Yeah, still figuring that one out.
Well, I handed you a letter, did I not?
Yes.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't really explain much.
Yes, and we shall. Now, if you please proceed into Renard Ellie.
Right.
Are you not going to look for the stupid guy?
No. No, he will be here. I can feel it in my bones.
Alright then. Fair enough.
Una walks right in.
Okay.
Well, what's on the menu for dinner?
We are having filet mignon.
Is it free dinner?
Wonderful.
It is more or less, yes, as long as you agree to work with the Fornier family. Many things will become free for you.
Food bribery, I like it.
I'm used to free. Let's go with this.
Alright, I'll do
Indeed.
that. I'm just saying, yeah, free food, I'm all over that.
Yeah, but
Ria's pretty happy. She's
I was
going
going to say, Ria's idea of free is something very, very different to anyone else.
Yeah.
And-
I was gonna say it's free regardless for me.
Yeah.
You see, he leads you in. You see that the place is now sort of beginning to clear out. People are sort of taking the drinks. You notice that a lot of different people, varying, styles of clothing, all have gathered here in the Renard Elite. Even though it is more high society, you can tell the nobility from all across Thea frequent here. Travelers, clearly coming by, stopping, enjoying the food and drink. But the strange thing about the Renard Elite is that now it looks like everybody's starting to leave at once as you enter, being led out by other men dressed similarly to the one who gave you the letter that stands in front of you now, as he leads you to a table in the very back.
Ooh, VIP.
It's because the Fourniers had hired the whole inn.
That is correct. And as the man brings you back to the table, there are 6 chairs prepared for you. Says, please have a seat. Your host will be along shortly. If you need anything, my name is Giat, and I will be taking care of you this evening. And no, he says as he turns and looks at Una, I am not your waiter.
She kind of gives him a scowl, says, I'm aware how this works.
C'est bon. And he just walks off, his rigidity still holding with his sour attitude.
That'll be short-lived.
As he walks towards the back, the smell of very well cooked meat hits your nostrils. Probably haven't smelled anything this fine since the last time you might have been in the presence of a noble. So in Una's case, maybe since the last time you were home. Gregory, you may have smelled something like this wafting from the captain's quarters once upon a time. But for the most part, the smell is both familiar and rich. And at that, a woman approaches. She is dressed in a very fine blue and white gown, all with brocade embellishment and varying filigree from her corset down to the very hem of her skirts. Atop her head, a very elegantly piled white wig sits on her head with varying little blue and pink bows decorating the varying braids within it. Her white makeup blanches her face as she is only really marked by several little bits of color. Her very rosy pink cheeks, the very bright red lipstick, and a single elegantly placed fake birthmark on her cheek. She approaches you. It is very good to meet you. I am so happy that you are able to attend in the honor of my son. I am none other than Josephine Fornier. There is where the hell is Kels? I mean, Monsieur Somat.
Oh, is that the stupid one they're referring to?
Beat me to it.
I would not probably say that. He is an artist, so to speak.
Your waiter thinks he's stupid.
Yeah.
Giard, yes. Giard was not a fan of him. He got to know Monsieur Somat a little bit too well last night.
I'm not going to ask.
No question.
No, it is probably best you did not.
How did you lose him if he was here last night?
Well, about that. And with that, there comes a rasping knock on the door. Kels? It is Paula. Are you in there?
So,
This guy gets around.
is there a candle in the room?
No. They don't trust you that much. It is dusk. The only thing that lights up your room is the fading gold twilight sun.
So-
we just,
What's that, Alex?
I was going to say, can we just picture the fact that Kells has moved the bed across the cell, up against the door, except in most cells the door opens outwards.
Oh, I
So
haven't
you gotta
forgotten.
Open it. And there's a bed.
I haven't forgotten.
Is there soap? There was a doctor in here. There might be soap.
She did leave many of her supplies sitting there.
Right.
She was a little too annoyed to have remembered to collect them.
I quickly remove my shirt, wrap it around my fist. I put my fist through the bars and smash the window. I take the soap, I grease up the bars as much as I can. Then I drop the soap beneath the bars and hide under the table.
Okay. So you break the window as the door opens outward. And you hear the voice of Paula Fournier as you're breaking the window and you're greasing the bars. She says, Mi amor, what are you doing?
I am lubricating.
And there's a bit of a... She says, that seems a bit risky, no?
Well, yes, but I find the best ones often happen when someone is going to come and find you. Paula, how are you?
I'm... Je vais bien, merci. I am here to take you to a meeting. You're no longer in trouble. I talked to the musketeers and misunderstanding. Unless you would like to climb out the window, mi amor.
No. I was not planning on climbing out the window. But please, before we go, come on in. Make yourself at home in my humble boudoir.
Yes. We do not have time for this. My mother was very adamant about you getting to this meeting.
There's always time.
Well, I suppose.
You see a very unenthused looking musketeer just standing right around the door like...
You may join us, monsieur.
He kind of looks around the room. The door closes. And you just hear... And
Paula,
you hear...
please, tell me, what is this meeting all about?
It is not mine to say. And what are you doing?
I am moving this bed back into its correct place. The doctor, she is a crazy woman. She is doing all sorts of strange things. Would you help me?
The musketeer says, "Oui, of course." And he takes the bed back into place with you.
Of course, thank you.
And Paula says, boys, we do not have time for this. But he says there was time. He's irresistible.
Paula, if you like, you can rest your head on my chest hair.
No, I couldn't.
Pop,
And about an uncomfortable 30 minutes of waiting, and some convincing from Paula, a very pleased-looking man with a fantastic mustache and vibrant chest hair enters the Renarde Lee.
Do not worry, my friends, I am here.
And Paula is still kind of rearranging a couple, like, hems of her clothing, and a very pleased musketeer is along with him. Well, I, help you see to him. I think I am good from here. And she says, yes, thank you. And she just kind of shoos him away.
I'll see you later on, Paula and Simeon. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure was all mine, monsieur, he says.
Now then, how can I help all of you?
Yeah, as you look in the back, there's some very confused looking people and a very annoyed looking Josephine Fornier.
Josephine, how long has it been?
She says, it has been roughly about 6 hours. Please sit down.
Oh, Josephine, 6 hours, surely it cannot be. It feels like it has been an eternity. My life is an empty hollow without you around.
I just go like turn to Rhiannon and be like, I think we found the idiot.
She says,
Yeah.
I think the idiot found us.
She says, I do not think that that is the only empty hollow you have been worrying about, monsieur.
But of course, I must keep myself in good shape for you, Josephine.
Please sit down, you insufferable artist.
I will take a seat. Kicking back. Is there a table near a chair? Because I'll
Yes,
put my
there is,
boots.
yes.
I'll put my boots on that table, arms behind the back.
Okay, so you put your boot on the table. It almost shakes as the empty plates and dinner glasses that have been set on the table just kind of quiver as this newcomer sets his boot on the table.
Grigori's going to lean over and just grab Kels' ankles, pick them up, and just put them on the floor. There'll be none of that.
You have such a delicate touch, monsieur.
With his bare hands.
Now
I'm
come.
gonna take the seat as far away from Kels as possible.
Not far enough.
There's no seat far enough right now.
The furthest seat, she sits there and very ladylike, and quietly she moves and sits down, folds her hands in her lap, and looks around expectantly.
Okay. So, Josephine says, if you excuse me, I'm going to let the cooks know that we are ready. Go ahead and talk among yourselves. I will be back in just a moment. And she looks to Kels and she says, do behave.
I know nothing else.
She says, I swear to God, if I get back here and there is something untoward happening on this table where we are about to eat, it will be the last straw.
As if I would do any such thing.
As if we would do that.
Yeah.
I'll give whoever said that first a wink and a nod.
Aye.
It was Layla, wasn't it?
It
Yeah.
was.
So
what kind of artist are you?
she leaves.
I'm going with he's a con artist, but that's me. So
What, you know your own?
I do. I know my type.
Keep an eye on that money, Rhiannon.
I have little interest in money.
I think we know what you have an interest in.
Oh, we've learned that real clear.
So how do you know the family?
The Forniers.
Intimately.
Yes, the Forniers are into fornication.
Una actually lets out a snort at this. She just kind of covers her.
And I happen to be an artist when it comes to fornication.
Is that what they keep telling you?
No, it's what I tell myself.
Oh, okay. That explains
That
everything.
explains quite a lot.
Hells, was it?
Kels.
Is that your name?
Kel Samat.
Do
Captain
you have a...
of the Salty Spray.
Ah. I went by
that
there
was
earlier.
Did you see my glorious men with their mustaches and fabulous chest hair?
Yes, I left quite quickly. I was very busy elsewhere.
It can be overbearing.
Sounds like a party.
Kind of leans over towards one of the ladies, whoever's closer, and says, "Just don't."
I'm having fun. You two can not. I'm enjoying it. So, where did you come up for the name for your ship? Is it
Where else, of course, a drunken evening. I needed some inspiration. I spent some time at a tavern, which turned out to be a brothel. And,
That's a mistake anyone could make.
of course.
That sounds like a very easy mistake to make.
I mean, at least I
We've all
think it...
been there.
I think it was a brothel. It might have become a brothel that night. I'm not sure. But, you know, I was looking and I was thinking, what should I call my ship? Something that cuts through the waves and makes spray. And what is that spray like? Well, it is the sea. So it must be salty. And I
you
thought,
didn't think of any weird connotations to that name at all.
do you?
I'm just gonna laugh at him and stop talking to him now. It's
Rhea finds sounds like amusing, but she does not care. She looks over at Una. So, you got a letter as well, then? I take it.
I did.
And what were you promised? Everybody kind of had a thing we were each promised.
Well, that is a good point. That is a detail I forgot, so that's entirely my bad.
Oh, I don't mean to call you out.
No, it's okay. I'm glad you mentioned that.
I was gonna say, what was I promised?
Bad Jim, bad.
You were promised a particular escape. The escape that you've been looking for. The means and ends to make your way far, far away from the nasty strings and tanglings of aristocracy that you've been hoping to find.
Perfect. She looks at Rhea and she says, "That's my business,
Right.
but
Well,
I
I'm
would
just-
like to travel.
Oh, traveler, are you?
I would like to be."
As good as reason as any.
I'm just gonna like interject the conversation, turn to Una and be like, "Are you nobility?" Like,
Unfortunately.
not in a particularly nice way, just like try to ask her, "Are you?"
Nobility of which land?
She looks over at Kels. She's just kind of like,
Just make something up.
the Highland Marches.
The Highland Marches. I have never ventured that far north.
Thank all of the gods.
I wouldn't worry. The Highland Marches.
Boom.
What I meant to say was that I'm I'm so pleased that you'll have such a great surprise waiting for you when you get there.
Of course. Of course. And please, Una, wasn't it? I'm sure you will soften to me. It's abrasive at first, I know, but like a strong mustache with a little conditioner and some time, it will soften right up.
Well, we shall see, I'm sure.
And at that note, dinner is placed in front of you. Very well grilled steaks placed in front of you all, with little bits of vegetables on the side, and very tall glasses of wine are poured in addition to the presentation of these meals. And Layla, if you could roll me a 1d6, please. Three. Okay, cool. Good to know. Thank you.
It's making me
So-
really nervous. You keep
Yeah.
making me roll and you're not telling me anything.
So, I
You're
imagine you
real
guys. Josephine says, "Please dig in." She says, gesturing to the food as she sits down, and she delicately unfolds her napkin, puts it in her lap, and picks up her fork and knife, and begins cutting her food rather delicately.
Una follows suit.
I'm not going to eat anything until I've seen other people eat it.
I'm
Josephine
drinking
pops
the
it around.
wine.
Unfortunately, Grigori, his hands are so big, the cutlery doesn't really work. It's like an adult trying to use baby cutlery. It's just no good for anyone. So,
Oh
so
no.
he's just kind of got a fork and is just stabbing at things, shoveling them into his face.
Okay, cool. So Layla, you finally eat then after
Yes.
seeing. Okay, so you gain 3 extra hit points, little bubbles on your sheet that you can use to avoid getting hurt because the steak is just that damn good.
Awesome.
It was probably one of the most mild wild magic surges I've ever seen.
What
So
was it?
Glad.
it was. So I had to change a little bit with the way that health works in this game. Target receives a succulent steak, boosting health by percentage depending on the outcome of a d20. But percentage would be kind of crazy with the way that this game's HP works. For those of you that are curious, the 7th C character sheet has this very fancy death spiral that's made up of like 20 or so bubbles. So that would have been really crazy. So D6 is pretty much one full threshold. So I cut it down a little bit. Sorry. So that being said, Josephine, after having taken a few bites, she says, "Now we are here to discuss exactly what has happened to my beloved son, Gabrielle." She takes a very large swig of wine, sets it down, and she says, "My son has gone missing. He has been kidnapped by a madman, and other nobles have gone missing as well. But unlike other families that are not quite as wealthy as us,
Please. In Castile, we respect dinner times. Do we need to talk and eat at the same time? Could we not socialize and talk business afterward?
she says, "I am very hungry. I've been very busy with cleaning up your bullshit in the streets all day."
That sounds about right. I do like to keep people entertained.
She says as she takes one giant, unladylike piece of steak and lobs it into her mouth.
Well,
So, what exactly are we to do?
You are to investigate his disappearance. I have chosen each one of you because you have particular skills that I know will help free my son from this madman.
What are his skills? Whether it counts.
daring,
Except for the
bravado.
obvious,
Yes.
but I don't know how that's going to help.
If any person can get anything out of anyone, it is probably that man.
He's also a great distraction if we need one.
He is A very welcome distraction. Yes.
So it's not the worst thing.
I
You
work
mean he's a
hard on.
scapegoat.
I work
Yeah.
hard on remaining beautiful.
I'm so proud of you.
Every day, olive oil on the skin. Every day.
You should stop doing that.
That explains the weird sheen. Any leads on who this madman might be?
She says, only a few. And
Alright.
she takes and she picks up a bell, a silver bell, much like one you'd find on an old-fashioned jester's cap. But this one is sort of a cast iron silver and almost looks like the spiked head of a flail as she sets it down. This was all that was we found in his room. I am not sure who made it, but there are some inscriptions on there in Old Thayan that are some sort of mystery. Seeing as I am Montaigne, I try not to dirty my tongue with Old Thayan, so I'm not very familiar.
Obviously.
Yes,
But-
it's a terrible thing to dirty one's tongue.
Something I know that you have very, very intimate experience with, and thank goodness for immune systems, no?
Uno
Anyway.
will actually lean forward and take it and start reading it.
Okay, so as you're looking it over, it says, it's sort of like, it looks like the start of a limerick. Come one, come all, to the shining, blazing ball. And here, in the flames, can you hear? And it trails off. There's not enough room in the inscription. It just kind of goes over it. Just one single loop.
She will read it out loud as she's reading it so that everybody else can hear as well.
Okay.
Does that sound like any part of a song or maybe a fairy tale or something? Some sort of oral tradition that's been passed down?
It sounds like a poem of some kind. It definitely is written in such a way that it is. It's definitely eloquent. The wording of it denotes that somebody of very high status is the one who wrote this. But you don't. It's safe to assume that the writing the inscription and the bell that it is on is almost completely unrelated. Like there is no reason as to why they would be associated with each other.
So
It's-
probably someone wrote this lyric on something and then later on that material was made into the bell.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Una will say, well, I don't know what this is. Well, I don't know what it was, but it seems to be a bell now.
Yes, it sadly lines up with some particular rumors. We have heard a spectral clown of sorts. He is haunting the streets and is apparently covered in these terrible silver bells. I do not believe it to be true, but hello, there we are.
What would hear him
Yeah. A little hard to stealth with those bells.
jingling around?
She nods and she says, "It is strange, is it not?"
Well, things
What-
seem
what
very
else?
strange.
What else do you know about this madman?
Well, the rumor said he was snatching up children, but there's been no confirmed reports. But then the nobles started going missing, but then no one saw anything. It was very strange.
How many nobles are missing?
About 4,
Are,
including my son.
are they all from here? Like, do they all live in this same kind of area?
Yes, they are all from Shadris.
Huh.
What time frame? When was the first disappearance reported?
Everyone has tried to keep it secret. It is so hard to tell. About 3 weeks ago.
How far in between each one?
About a week. when I wrote to you, Gabrielle had been missing about 2 days. I do not know how on earth we knew you were here, but I had it on good information that 5 of his dearest friends were all here.
I wouldn't call us dearest, but sure, we'll go with that.
Her
Um,
eyebrow raises as you say that.
Anything else that you found? What was he doing, maybe perhaps before he disappeared?
Gabrielle, he seemed normal. He was, I believe he was writing poetry for a young lady.
And who is that young lady?
Her name is Louise Delac.
Right, Kels, you've got a target then, it seems.
Who told you that we know your son?
Gilliard, actually.
Oh, good evening, Julian.
He kind of gives you a nod in the background. His normal bored look just bores into Kel's chest.
Who is this?
This is one of their higher up servants, not quite a butler, more like a major domo, who you kind of have some drunken memory of. You may have like embarrassed him some kind. You're not really sure. It might come back to you later.
Ah, yes.
I'll ask him then. Like, who told you that we know Gabrielle?
Well, to be honest with you, mademoiselle, as we were scouring his room, your names appeared in his diary.
Oh.
I appear in a lot of diaries.
I'm familiar.
How
We'd
exactly?
just push him off his chair or something.
But we found out that there was writing that you would be here, that he was expecting you.
Do you happen to have this diary still? Could we see it? Might give us some clues.
Of course. And
you.
he reaches forward into a sort of folded over fabric bag and pulls out this diary. It's very well embroidered, very fine leather engraved. The initials GF are on it, and he slides it forward.
Una picks it up and starts reading it.
Okay.
I lean over to like read along over her shoulder.
Okay. So as you're taking the
Basically
time,
going to go entry by entry backwards.
okay, so you go through each entry backwards.
Skimming, of course. I don't need to know what he had for breakfast or anything.
Okay. So within about the first 4 pages, going from the most recent entry, you see an entry that says, I have heard that Una Nikmab will be gracing Montaigne very soon. It is in good fortune that I know very much how she struggles to seek reprieve from what oppresses her. Now, if only I could do my dear friend a kindness and let her bravery and compassion guide her and find better use than the constant wistful wishing that she could be free. And the
that's
exact
nice.
date of your arrival is listed there too.
I mean, that's creepy, but
Yeah.
the sentiment was nice.
She rips out that page and shoves it in her bodice.
Okay, awesome. Next, as you begin flipping back further, you see Rhiannon's name pop up next. It's the entry says, often I have thought of the lovely Rhiannon, a young lady so inspiring and so courageous. Her grace and her elegance mixed with her wit would even inspire envy in the gods. Though I wish that she could find what she was looking for, if only there were some way that I could pay forward the kindness that she has shown to me, I would happily do so. But I know that should ever a person in need truly require her help, she would be there post haste, and therefore it would only be right to the world that she be rewarded. And the exact date of your arrival is written as well.
I need to meet this guy. He seems good.
The next one back. Grigory says, Grigory, I do remember him fondly. A large man of considerable strength, but hides within him a kind and patient heart. His strength could more than likely save kingdoms many times over. Should I ever be in most dire of need and peril, I would think first but to call on him. And the location and docking dates of your ship are listed.
That's quite believable. The ships would have chartered courses, so that's not, out of the realms of possibility for Gregory.
Okay. Layla, the next entry is labeled for you. It says, Layla, how do you describe the nondescript, the indescribable? But beneath the mystery, there lies so much more. A heart seeking redemption, and oh, how I wish I could give it. Should something ever happen to me, I know that she would undoubtedly come to my rescue. For she is a true and noble soul, hidden amidst all that darkness. And the date of your arrival in Montaigne is listed as well.
Lila's like kind of freaking out a little bit because it sounds like he knows a lot about her past that she was kind of hoping that people would not find out. Although I suppose he wasn't wrong, was he? He said that she would come to his aid, and here she is.
And then finally, Kel Samat. Though I wish I were a man much like Kel Samat, to be irresistible, indescribable, and to be an untamable force of both passion and nature. I know that undoubtedly his bravado and his heroism will go unmatched. But should I need him, I am most certainly doomed to find a friend. The ship logs of your ship are listed as well.
Yeah. Everyone watches for when I am in port.
Oh.
Button down the hatches, hide your daughters.
The salty spray coming into the port.
More like a townwide warning that goes through. So.
Everyone go inside, lock your doors, hide your
Curfew.
kids, hide your wife.
I'll be honest, Kels is growing on me. I'm starting to really like this.
It's like in Godzilla movies when there's like a blaring, like, please go back inside, stay indoors.
That's about it.
The hurricane's coming.
I
What's with
Hurricane time.
wreak havoc wherever I go. It is quite possible that I was drinking with this this man at some point, and
Just forgotten him.
no, I probably taught him everything I know. I cannot help myself.
That's very generous of you.
It's
Josephine,
very
who is now a second cup of her wine in, mostly finished with
Atta
her
girl.
filet mignon. She says, I hope that there's plenty to go on. If not, I believe that I might be able to possibly supply you a little bit further with whatever you might need.
I would need the blunderbuss and saber that I was captured with.
You see her elbow hit the table, her fingers pressed to her temple.
I think you're trying her patience, Kels.
Oh,
As soon as her elbow hits the table, the silverware that Una was holding drops and clatters on the table, and she sits up like.
She stares at Kels and says, you will make it up to me later.
Don't I always?
Anyway,
There's a very awkward silence as Giad says, so that could I interest anyone in any more wine or something of the sort?
Yeah,
wine,
thanks.
wine. Another round.
women are just like, yes.
Hey, we'll actually slow down. I had a drink before I came.
He pours you one anyways.
Thank you.
So, as you guys are sitting, kind of perturbed by the almost curtness, the complete intimateness of how well Fournier's diary describes you, and of course the uncomfortable presence of some sort of tension between Josephine and Kells. What are you guys doing?
Una will return to her meal because it's delicious.
Okay.
Yeah.
In between bites, though, she will say, "Do you have any other strange occurrences that have been happening around here?"
Any lovers' quarrels?
She says, no, but Guillard hands her a list of names. Says, thank you. So I should have supplied this sooner. And she hands you a list of names. She says, these are the nobility that went missing. So you might be able to start there and find out what they know. Tomorrow evening, there is a social gathering that you may or may not be able to get into. And perhaps if I can sway attendance, you might be able to mingle with their families and perhaps learn more.
So is this like a noble kind of party? Because like we're really not dressed the part. I think they might notice.
She nods and she says, I can supply if you'd like, but if you'd like to go about ways your method. Gabrielle says that you are in your own abilities, so I will give you that option.
Okay. Gregory will have a look at the list of names and ask which noble went missing first.
Okay. The first one who went missing should have had my list of missing nobles earlier. So the first one is Claude Moreau. I will put that in chat for you. As you read the names, you've heard of plenty of these, Gregory, especially as you have kind of been in and out of Montaigne plenty. The Moreau family are bankers. They have great many ties into the wealth and finances of Montaigne. The next name is Cyril Dubois.
Okay.
The Dubois family is pretty much one of the oldest ranks of their nobility. And they often kind of have a tendency of serving as advisors to the Sun King himself. And they are very influential people. Pretty much if the Dubois family is doing something, you either best be doing it, or if you're doing the opposite, you best not be doing that thing.
Okay.
The next one is, let's see, where did it go? There it is. You have Guy Leron. The Leron family is responsible for, they've had a great many generals come through their family. They've been responsible for many militaristic actions in Montaigne's history. Not quite as active now that the wars have subsided for the time being. But they are very militaristically influential. And the final name, of course, is Gabrielle Fornier. The Fourniers themselves being known as basically the merchant kings of Montaigne.
Una would have probably at least been familiar with each of these people, like
undoubtedly,
socially, maybe not close, but would have known of them. Were they all about the same age?
Maybe give or take about within 5 years. No more, like about a
Okay.
5-year span among them.
Okay, and they're all men.
All male, yes.
Una will share those details.
You do
Well-
know that they. One thing that would come to you and come spring to mind is that they do not share the same birth order, though. In Gabrielle's case, he is the middle child. In Cloud's case, he was the firstborn. In Cyril's case, he is the fourth son, and in Guy's case, he is the third son.
You said Claude was second-born.
Claude is firstborn.
Firstborn. Okay. Well, they're each from important families, but
What else do they have in common? Anything?
Do they have anything in common?
Aside the fact they're all men, apparently.
Well, yeah,
And
men
nobles.
and nobles.
Did you say Gabrielle was second?
He's the middle child. He's the only one of 3 siblings in his family.
are there any family rivalries going on? Anything that's like super intense?
You would know that family rivalries pretty much are nothing more than a brief squabbling match. It's usually kind of a show around the courts in the other lesser noble families. So it is usually more of it's more of an act of dueling pettiness. There hasn't been a proper duel among the nobles in a good few years. Mostly because it is more about the thrill of boiling tension among the nobility that makes the gossip of the court go round.
We should change that. Una should challenge someone to a duel.
Oh my.
No, we won't do that right now.
Right now.
Not right now. Were they all taken from their rooms? No sign of struggle?
Josephine says, not that I know. In Gabriel's case, there was very little that was in disarray. His bed sheets were not made, of course, but we did not hear a single thing in the night.
Who
Do
was
you
the
know-
last?
Oh, I was
Sure.
gonna say, did you know of any people that were here the night that he went missing that aren't normally around? Like, did you have any guests or anything that night?
See here, no. All staff was accounted for, as far as I'm aware. Guillard is actually one of Gabrielle's most closest attendants, who is frequently about. I believe between you and me, she says, as almost as though Guillard's not standing more than 5 feet away. I believe it is something akin to guilt that he feels.
Who was the last person to see Gabrielle?
That would be me, mademoiselle, says Guillard.
Right. And how was he when you last saw him? Anything out of the ordinary?
He was there at his writing desk, writing something for the lady who has stolen his heart. He was in sort of a fit of moods, elated, very enthusiastic, because there was this upcoming party tomorrow. He was hoping to finally make some sort of, and his eyes drift to Kel's. Something of the sort. But that is rather untoward for me to discuss. But I know that he was very much in love last time I knew him.
Was this with the girl who was writing letters to?
Yes, the poetry.
Tell me, was her name Irina?
No,
Oh,
it was
good.
not. Her name was not Irina.
Good. That's fine then. Marina?
No,
Good. Paula?
no, that is his sister.
No, I'm not one to judge.
Okay, some things should be judged.
Oui, he says.
And what of the strange bell?
It was found on the floor. It was the only thing.
Have you ever seen it before?
No. There's
Were there any others?
not that I'm aware. The other noble families are very private people. If there was one, then they may not have let it on, or it may be in the hands of the musketeers. We do not know. These are being handled as internal affairs, and it has taken weeks of courtly elbow grazing, so to speak, to even get this much information.
Sure, Kel's over there. I can get some information out of him.
Oh, I can get you
Alright,
information
let's
like
try
this.
it.
I see why you're here.
Josephine.
Is useful.
Josephine, after one big swig, says, "Precisely."
He loves uses. That'll be fine.
And if it comes to it, I'm sure I can lean on some people.
Okay,
We'll throw a
being
bench on
people
them.
with a bench does not get information. That just gets a concussion.
It depends where the bench goes.
Josephine slides her chair out a little. She says, "I would pretend that your methods have never met my ears. If anything comes of it, we can support you, but we cannot get our hands dirty by, how would you say, contaminating the whole pond. Basically, we will back you. We will help you do what you can, but the other noble families are getting very suspicious of one another."
What kind of backing are we talking? Are we talking like financial backing?
She says, "We are talking whatever sort of backing I can provide for you." So yes, it might be financial, it could be material, it could be political support. I just have to know, but I cannot get my hands too sticky.
Yes, that would be most terrible if you got your hands sticky.
There is a definitive lip bite as she goes back to sipping her wine.
Well.
Kind of in the constant sort of tense exasperation that you have inflicted upon her all day.
Just leave you two to it if you like. Yes.
I was going to say there seems to be a tension between us, Josephine. Perhaps we should go and discuss it in my inner chamber.
She says, "There is things where there are a proper time and place for everything, and now is not the time."
Yolos?
She sighs heavily as she stands up. She says, "I will leave you to your investigations. I have already paid for rooms here in Le Renardelli."
Oh, good.
Can we have a look at your son's room?
She kind of thinks it over. She says, "Yes, of course. I will probably be retiring to my room," she says, and her eyes meet Kel's. As soon as I return.
Lulu just like very obviously looks in the opposite direction. Like, anyway.
Excuse me. So yes, you are welcome. I can get another carriage for you all to ride together, unless you prefer to walk.
Oh, no, let us ride together. It'd be good to get to know my new associates.
Yeah, I'm easy either way. I don't mind.
She nods.
Good
She
to
just
know,
says-
Layla. Good to know.
And there it is. She says
I
that
was
she
hoping you
turns-
missed that.
I whispered phrasing, hoping Scrat didn't hear it.
We all were.
Like just not pay attention that moment.
So, as you guys, you guys wrap up dinner. You want to go investigate the son's room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Everybody across the board? Okay. So you guys pile into a fairly large carriage drawn by 4 horses.
I'm assuming one of us took the bell as well, right?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Una had it.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll take a look at that later.
Alrighty then. So you guys get into this very large carriage, very well upholstered. There are velveteen cushions that are filled with down. It's almost like you could make a small bed of it, the bench.
It's a comfortable
Don't
little
throw
carriage.
it, Grigori.
Josephine gets in first. Gillard hangs in basically with the door open, as he is also the coachman. Kind of lets you in. There's a sort of worried look on his face as Grigori
I was going to
steps.
say, I probably wouldn't fit.
You're big. It'd be snug, but you could.
Okay.
Be hunched up like this.
You see, like, the axles kind of quake a little bit as you get in, and the carriage lists to one side until it eventually settles.
Be like the Incredibles, where whatever his name is in the tiny little car.
Yes, exactly. So you guys kind of pile around, with Josephine sitting on single bench. She slides over to allow Kells to sit next to her.
Why, thank you, Josephine.
Keep your hands to yourselves, yeah.
Don't know what you're talking about, she says. And once you're all inside, Gillard shuts the door, nods, and with a crack of a whip, the carriage makes its way through the moonlit streets of Charus towards the Fornier Manor.
I imagine Josephine's face would redden as my hand is behind her back.
Yes, it reddens so much that it shows through the blanche white makeup that she's wearing. She says, you just hear a she just takes your hand very indignantly, but there's this kind of like, it looks more like a choice than a reflex. She takes your hand and throws it off of her. She says, that was not an invitation, we are just sitting in the same carriage.
Excuse me, I did not realize what was going on.
She says, I sat down first. How did your hand get back there?
I don't know.
I said,
Are you sure we need him?
I am not sure.
Fortunately, I think we are.
Hi. Again, distraction. Throw him in front of something at some point. I'm sure it'll work.
well, I heard that he threw himself in front of a bullet earlier.
Oh, see, there we go.
Yes.
Human shield.
Yeah.
Well,
I got this one in the first war.
Well,
Two?
I say with my wound, which has clearly been sewn up about 2 hours ago. I'm like, this one was from the first war, and this
It's
one was
oozing
from
a
the
little bit.
second. But what can one do?
Uh-huh. Sure.
So, Josephine just kind of sits looking out the window, as she just sort of sighs, sort of says, wistfully to herself, the moonlit showers is always so beautiful. So I'm gonna ask, who has the highest ranks in notice?
Oh dear.
Ooh.
Not me.
Notice. Well,
Go
I
on.
am confident that I would have the highest of 0.
Oh,
2.
out of it.
I have
One.
one.
I have 2.
Okay, so nice, very perceptive people.
Oh, yeah. Real
Um,
perceptive group.
so Rhiannon and Layla, as
That's what we're
you
good at.
as you guys are kind of trying to find a place to cast your eyes amidst this very strange, awkward, and quite circumstantial gathering of people, you think you see on a far off rooftop a tall, dark figure that stands in the moonlight. As you kind of like crane your as you strain your eyes in your neck just ever so slightly, you see that there is almost this kind of small gold light in its hand. as it just kind of looks like a fire lighting up what looks to be a blanche white face. The eyes reflect like two small cat's eyes at night. And in a moment, embers curl around it, fold over it, and in a sort of plume of gold smoke, it disappears. Just glittering dust.
Layla's just kind of staring. She's like, did anybody else see that?
If you're talking about the weird kind of fire trick glowy thing, I don't know how to describe it. Yes. But what was...
There is some very strange things.
How much wine did we have?
Not that much.
I didn't think so.
Not enough.
Something in that, I am starting to be concerned. Right, but what? Somebody else saw this. Okay,
Like, did nobody else see it?
Did anybody else?
Una looks up from the diary. I'm sorry.
Right. No.
Okay.
Kel's probably no. Gregory, anything?
I could barely turn my head.
Fair enough.
I saw it.
I'm already like pressed against the roof of the carriage.
I saw it. All right. It burned like the passion in my soul. And
Yeah, you saw nothing.
Yeah. I just like turns Josephine and be like, so do you have a lot of people that are like burning?
Or even just standing on
On
rooftops?
rooftops? Like, is this a normal occurrence around here?
She says, I don't believe so. She says, why? Did you see something? She's just kind of like, she seems like she's been a little bit distracted. You notice her hand is now unconsciously on Kel's. She just pulls it away.
Right.
I'm just gonna stare at her like this.
Irresistible.
Right.
There's a lot of gossip in here.
Well, at least Rhea saw it, so no, I'm
Yep.
not going completely crazy.
Yeah, it's reassuring that you saw this. That was weird.
What was the... Didn't have any bells on him, did he? Maybe he's
didn't.
that creepy guy from the other day. Oh, from today. Earlier today? It
Let's hope not.
today.
The way that it looked, it didn't look like there was anything hanging off of it. It kind of looked like it was wearing, as you kind of think it over, you know, trying to reconcile the shapes that you saw with anything that might stand to your notice, is that it almost looked like it had a wide-brimmed hat. The figure was pretty obscured once it got to its shoulders, like it was wearing a sort of long cloak. And as you kind of compare the two images in your head, the way it disappeared did not seem to be quite the same nature as the way that the strange sort of sudden disappearance of the madman from the Renardelli.
I think we've got a gang of mystical vanishing people now.
Good. Fun.
You've definitely had too much wine if you're thinking along those lines.
You all would know that mysticism is something that is not uncommon in Thea. In fact, Una would know, being a noble, that one of the most common forms of sorcery in Montaigne is an ability called Le Porte, which nobility can use these magical portals at the sacrificing of their own blood to tear open holes in the world and move through them, or move objects through them to them. It is a dangerous practice, as it very much pushes on the boundaries of the world itself, but nonetheless, it is a power that many nobles possess.
Well, there's a few things that some people can do, and they're not quite so savory or
Is this like
safe at all.
common knowledge among most people, or is it just like kind of a noble knowledge?
It's something that would be maybe more rumored in the sort of level of society that you're at, but for Una, it's almost damn near confirmed.
Is
I would
this
be
is
hesitant
this
to say
sorcery
anything
that
more about it,
you
though.
speak of?
Okay. We'll go Alex first. Sorry, what was that?
Sorry. Is this the sorcery that you speak of? I have not seen it myself, but my captain has told terrible tales.
And she looks extremely uncomfortable right now. I don't do it, and I'm not exactly sure how it works.
It's something only common to Montaigne nobles, no less.
Honestly, I think that would be a question for you, madame. And she gestures towards the host, who I forgot her name at the moment.
Josephine. She says, we try not to make Le Pot a very well-known thing, but yes, it does exist. In fact, it might be pertinent. And she just swears under her breath.
Could your son do this?
She nods.
Oh, that's something important to know.
Any other like key information that we should know about, like the fact that your son could like teleport himself?
Other than that, no. Gabrielle did not like using Le Pot. It always frightened him.
Do I know what happens with people who try it and it fails?
Oh, plenty of terrible things can happen. There are a number of varying consequences. You could tear open a hole without it being shut. Monsters can come through and leak into the world. You can swallow up things by accident, never to return, only to be flung into a terrible screaming void. That's some of the rumors you've heard.
Hey, that sounds
Far
like
too
fun.
happy about that.
Hooray! Blood magic.
Seriously.
Una closes her eyes for a moment, just takes a deep breath and says, Madame, if I may be so bold, do you think that maybe something happened to him while he was using his abilities?
No, it would have been a dire circumstance in which he even began to use Le Pot. He did not, and he would definitely, in case you are thinking it, would not use them for a woman. My son is a young man, of course, but with the information you have, I do not see why he would be so inspired all of a sudden to break 20 years of saying, no, mother, I shall not use it. I swear, mon Dieu, I shall not. She removes Kel's hand from her knee.
Well, you know how sometimes, you know if they were friends? Or do I
Yeah.
know if they were friends?
The other missing boys, you're at this point, you know, it could be said that all of the nobles are friends, or all of the nobles aren't friends.
Okay.
It's a constant kind of shifting, changing, almost like that sort of theater kid drama, where one week you are friends with someone, next week you're not, but you're all still friends.
Gotcha. Sorry, my cat is climbing on things. I'm hoping he doesn't start knocking things down. I apologize if you hear a crash.
You all right?
No, I'm fine. It's just I'm not sure about my storage unit. Anyways, madame, maybe someone, not him, opened a portal and let something in. Or sent something after others?
As she looks like she begins to consider this, the carriage comes to a stop outside the manor. She says, voila. We are here. You can search his room for yourself. Says, I am a little bit beyond thinking of what might have happened to my beloved Gabrielle, but I do thank you for your help.
Perhaps I should search your room for clues.
Sounds great. Just let's leave him in a different room entirely.
There is her jaw clenches. She looks you up and down, and she says, perhaps for a moment. And she leads you up the stairs. Giard looks at you and just sighs. And he says, I will take the rest of you up to Gabrielle's room.
Yep. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan.
Okay, c'est bon. Merci. And as you guys make your way, parting at the top of the stairs, as Josephine leads Kels to her room, and the other four making their way with Giard in front down this very well lit hall that has a number of sconces on it. Every so often, portraits. One of Josephine, one of his older sister, Francine, one of Gabrielle, and one of Paula. At the very end is a very severe-looking Montaigne man. And as the note reads, it is the father, Michael. And there is a date. Michael passed away about 2 years ago.
Right.
Grigory will ask, if you don't mind me asking, how did the good Lord pass?
It was a disease of the liver, so the physician said.
And have there been any other disappearances before? Maybe a decade ago?
No, not that I am aware of.
Would other families have told you if there had been other disappearances? They said they like to keep things secret.
Let us put it this way. If information was Kelsomat's pants, it would not be information.
Right. Got it.
Basically, very difficult to get information out of other people.
I figured as much. Yeah, nice metaphor there. Can we continue to the room?
As he takes you another few steps after lingering outside these portraits, he puts a key in the door, turns it, opens it, and there's a very well-furnished room. The walls, a lovely floral pattern, a very soft bed, not freshly made. In fact, it looks like it hasn't been disturbed. Almost that same sort of impression that you get when you enter a tavern, and the bed is nice and pressed and made. Several papers adorn a very elaborately gilded desk with a large mirror in front of it, an inkwell on it. On each side, several drawers. A large armoire stands to the side of the desk, shut with a simple latch, no lock, over the two knobs. And the room extends out to a balcony beyond the partition of a changing screen, a wash basin, but there is a curtained glass, mostly windowed door that you can walk onto.
Going straight for information. Nightstands and desk.
Yep. So, as you're looking around, you are seeing that papers are pretty well organized. In the desk, you see numbers of a varying number of kind of scratched out poetry. Like there's many different drafts that he's trying to come up with. You find sealant wax. You find a seal, a small candle made for melting the wax. It is pretty nondescript. Nothing really of official business here. Mostly letters, scratching, some drawings. From what you can tell of the drawings, mostly of the same woman.
Are they nudies?
No, they're all very tasteful.
Okay. I mean, after all, she's also getting some good dirt on these people. Nothing out of the ordinary though.
No, not on the nightstands, not on the desk.
About how big is this room?
The room is about 25 feet across and 15 feet wide.
Cool. Rhea kind of goes towards the middle of the room and hoping that nobody's really watching her. I'm not entirely certain how to do this, but I want to activate my sense sorcery.
Lovely. So you spend a hero point.
Yes.
And suddenly the world ripples around you.
Works for 30 feet, by the way. Just
Yeah, very nice. The world sort of ripples around you as your perception shifts.
Mm-hmm.
You hear whispers, kind of faintly, and then you feel almost drawn to the armoire.
Okay. So go towards that to see if anything sparks.
So you head towards the armoire?
Yes.
Okay. Simple latch over this very nicely painted armoire that stands on a set of lion claw feet.
Okay. Anything kind of standing out to me?
You open the armoire?
Yeah.
Okay, so you unlatch it. And as you do, suddenly a mask comes pushing through the armoire. Through
Okay.
clothes. About time. I've been waiting so long, says this clownish, twisted jester's mask. A long cap and bells stretch from his head as he steps out. Some tall, about 6'2", as he steps out of the armoire. You hear clinking underneath his cape.
Fantastic.
As
That
he
was something-
steps
Does
forward,
everybody see this?
Yeah, does
Yes.
everybody else? Oh, thank God.
Everybody
Okay,
sees this
checking.
as his laughter kind of fills the room.
So Grigori's immediate reaction is going to be to lean forward and trying to grab hold of him.
Okay, so we're gonna go into an action sequence. So I'm going to. What is everybody's approach in this first round of action?
I
So,
have a
Gregori's gonna-
question.
Yes.
Is there a sword around?
Is there a sword around? Are you? You
Yes.
would probably be carrying one, unless you didn't have one on you.
Well, Una, not thinking that she's going to meet a noble for some official business, probably would not have worn a sword. She would have been wearing just some nice clothes.
Okay.
So when she hears that, she's looking for a sword first.
Okay. You know that there's hanging in the hallway a set of long swords, some 20 feet back.
Okay. She's
yes.
immediately running towards the sword to grab it.
Okay, so we'll go with the weaponry from you. So the way that this works, Aris, to catch you up, turns work that everybody announces what they're doing, then we roll, and then we pretty much carry on through we're out of raises, which are the successes. So that's that. I would ask what you're doing, Kels, but so basically, Kels, as things are begin to get hot and steamy, as your shirt now has less buttons on it than it did before, you hear this very strange laughter erupt from the other room.
Well, at least they're having a good time.
it sounds almost ghoulish in a way.
Wild stallions could not drag me away from this at the moment.
Okay, sure. Alrighty then. So then Layla, what are you doing for the most part?
Layla just kind of like instinctively grabs a dagger that she's got at her side, but doesn't like draw it out so that anyone can see it, just to make sure she's got her hand on it, but to still keep it hidden within her coat.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll say that, and then as we get to Rhiannon, what is your action? What are you doing?
Screaming.
Trying not to scream, really. I'm trying to compose myself so I can try to talk to it. I'm not
Okay.
so much feeling like the stabbing, which is out of character for me personally, but I'm going to try to talk to it.
Okay. So then in that case, you can roll either, we'll go around in that case. Rhiannon, that can be a wits or panache, and let's see here. Let me pull up a character sheet for my reference. I'm still getting used to this. You could say, yeah, we could do a convince if you'd like, or empathy to try to get information out of it. So either one of those.
Empathy. I'm probably going to
Sure.
go empathy, and then either wits or panache is the exact same for me. But
Okay.
I'm probably a little bit leaning towards the wits in this case because I'm also trying to mentally steel myself a little bit.
Sounds awesome. In that case, actually, how's your resolve?
Hold on, pardon?
How's your resolve? Because
Oh.
resolve is often about stealing yourself.
Resolve is 2. I've got 3 in the other ones.
All right, so you can definitely go with wits.
Yeah.
For Una and Layla, you can do brawl and weapon. Sorry, not brawl. Your brawn and weaponry or finesse and weaponry. And Grigori, you can do a brawn and brawl. If you guys ever feel like something would be more appropriate in combination, do let me know, because those can always be changed. And seeing as you guys have all described what you're doing, you can go ahead and roll 2 extra bonus dice on those, because one for the first time you've used this type of action, and the other one because you so accurately described how you're going to be doing these things. Kels, go ahead and roll that panache and perform, please.
Sorry, so we get 2 extra ones?
Yes, you do.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll them separately and add them in there.
And at what point do we get to re-roll?
So if you have advantage, you can re-roll the whole pool. If you have a 3 in a skill, you get to re-roll a single die.
Oh. Hey, so I currently have 5 total. I could re-roll that one, but
Roll the 1, as I have 4 points in brawn.
Okay.
20,
That's meant to be a 2.5.
10 divided by...
Okay.
yeah. See, mine's already out of 5 solid flat, so I don't think it's gonna get any better.
All right.
So I got 5.
All right.
Didn't do my divide. Ignore me. Wait a minute.
So,
So
chat,
much
thank you for bearing with
rolling.
us. We're still figuring this game out.
Okay.
So, then in that case, my 5s are going to go first.
Okay.
Seeing as it's a tie
Whatever.
between you two,
Yeah.
who wants to go first.
Up to you.
I'm easygoing. But because I'm probably closest to it, because I just opened it, I'm gonna go with probably. So, Riaz, who are you? What do you want before everybody else in this room tries to kill you?
Okay, so you want to spend your raise to kind of like distract for a moment, kind of like get it
Yes.
not attack?
Yes,
Okay.
get it to focus maybe on me more so than anything else.
Sure thing. Yeah, that's an awesome way to spend your raise. As it kind of turns and looks, the head cocks and tilts and looks at you.
Oh, God.
As you hear the jingling of these bells that look a lot like the one that Una has jingle as
Yep.
it steps towards you out of the armoire. Grigori. So we're at 4 now.
Okay. So Grigori's instinctive reaction is going to be from I'd say the middle of the room. He's going to immediately dart towards the freaky guy and try to grab hold of him and restrain him, because jumping out at people is never good.
Okay, so as you run out and grab at him, you do grab on both of his wrists, and the face turns and looks at you. As it does, you notice in the mask, you can't even see any eyes. It's just matte black underneath this ghoulish, pretty simple, almost like a sort of tragedy style, like drama mask that is painted to look like a harlequin.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking for as far as music. So we are at 4 raises right now. Who has 4? Because that would still be Rhiannon and Gregory, unless anybody else ties for 4.
Nope.
Okay, so still you guys.
Cool.
As this creature, you have this strange, tall harlequin creature by the arms, and it is now looking back and forth between Rhiannon and Gregory.
Yeah. Rhea, noticing the bells. We've seen those bells before. We know our friend has gone. And just trying to, like, get him to pay attention to me again so Gregory can kind of get a better handle on him.
The voice comes from the mask again and says,
Oh, God.
I remember. Oh, yes, I do. In fact, remember well.
Okay, cool.
It tasted so good. Every single last bite.
Guys, sounds like you ate Gabrielle. I don't know.
Oh. I'm
And
gonna
he
make sure
turns-
that I've got a good grip on him.
Okay.
Like
Uh-huh.
very,
Uh-huh.
very good grip.
Please.
He turns and looks at
Please,
Gregory
I'm
and
more
goes,
terrified.
he turns and looks at Gregory and goes, or did I?
I'm gonna now be holding him at arm's length.
Okay, so you want to
Just-
push him back a little bit?
Not so much push him back, but I'm gonna step back.
Okay. I'll say that's going to take a raise because you can feel like it almost feels like his cloak is moving, like he's leaning forward to try to do something in a second.
Okay.
So I'll say that in order to push yourself back before he can really get in there and kind of close that gap with you, that'll be a raise and that'll push you back to 3.
Okay. Yep. That's fine.
All right. So, now that puts us all at 3 raises. For at that point. So now it's his turn. He goes first. Seeing as villains break ties. You hear a kind of clicking sound as he stamps his curled, belled boot on the floor, and a blade pops out from the boot. And he springs it up and he kicks Gregory right in the thigh. You're going to take 3 wounds from that.
Cool.
As the blade pops out, hits you, and it's not a very long blade, but it's broad. And as he puts his foot back down and goes, I suggest you let me go or I'm going to eat you too.
Okay. Does he have legs?
He
Obviously
does.
He does.
They're long and clothed in this sort of large, puffy, like Harlequin's uniform, but you notice that they're stained in blood.
Okay.
They normally would have been white, but they are just completely stained.
I don't appreciate being stabbed. So I'm going to stamp on his kneecap
Okay. So, we do have a pretty large tie for 3. So, does anybody else want to do anything first before we get to the hitting of the kneecaps?
No, wait till after the kneecaps. I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I really just want to get that sword.
Okay. So yeah, you can, with that raise, you can be out of there. That takes you down to 2. So you run and you bring it right back. I'll say you get the whole thing out of the way. Are
It
you
wasn't an Elizabeth Swan moment where she tries to get the sword off and it's
right?
stuck in
Like
the
yeah,
thing.
it's completely like clear off. Raise just
Perfect.
you pull it right out of the display, almost like this isn't your first time doing this.
No, this is not. She's actually used to pulling swords out of random wall sconces for quick practice.
Okay. Kels, by the way, as your raises are going so well, you do hear this commotion down the hallway. You hear a sword being drawn out of a wall. You hear this sort of insane laughter again. Sound of some sort of scuffle.
Una would also say, "Help! Help! There's a clown or something, I think."
Oh. Tell me, do you still hide your secret weapon in your gata?
And she, as like she's there with it, like she goes, "I do. Why?"
I'll just take it.
Okay, so you just pull it out. As you do, like you take garter and all. You're just kind of like, so.
I walk to the
Exactly.
door with it,
All
and
right.
look over my shoulder and say, "Wait for me. I'll be back soon."
Okay, awesome. So as you are shouting for his help, he just kind of comes swaggering out. Her weapon is it's a very effeminate, very nicely balanced, delicate dagger with a garter belt still stuck to it.
She looks down at her sword and looks up at his knife and she says, "That's the biggest you could do?" And she runs back into the room.
Now you see, it is not the size that matters.
Neat. Okay, so with that, Grigori, what did you do? You were just gonna stamp on his foot?
No. So using all of my body weight, which
Okay.
is quite a lot, I've got him restrained at loosely arm's length. He's probably off balance after just kicking me in the leg with a blade. I'm literally going to lift one of my legs up and press onto his kneecap.
Oh, okay.
And snap it.
All right. So as you press into his kneecap, you do hear a snap. There's a sudden, just dry sounding snap as he lands, and he looks almost a little off balance. And he like kind of stands there on it. Like the lower half of where his boot would be resting straight up. Now it looks like he's sort of standing with it at a 90-degree angle. But it sounded like wood as you did that.
Well, that's not normal.
That doesn't sound healthy. That can't be healthy in the slightest.
He just said, he looks up at you and goes, "Oh, well, now that's going to take time to fix."
Right, and while it does, why don't you talk to us? Not crazy like.
Okay. He turns to you. You draw his attention again?
Yeah, pretty much. Kidding.
Okay.
It's gonna be what I keep doing.
So you're going to pressure him to just try to just engage with you.
Yeah.
So, Layla, what do you want to do with your raise?
I was going to try and incapacitate him with my dagger, but I kind of feel like Gregory's already done that.
I'm not so sure I have.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'm quite happy to stab him, but I don't want to kill him. Can I try talking to him?
Yeah, sure. He's right now focused on Randon, but if you want to spend a raise to try to talk to him, kind of pull a little bit more information out of him, you can.
Yeah.
See if you can engage him, get kind of some insight as to what's going on.
Yeah.
Seeing it's
How he got there.
seeing as it's not the approach that you started with, it's going to cost you an extra raise to do that. So you're going to drop from 3 raises down to 1.
I'll just stab him for good measure.
Okay, so you're going to run up and stab him. How is it that you stab him?
In the other leg.
The other leg. So you run up, like thigh, knee. Where are we looking for?
Thigh, I think. I don't think the knee's going to be that effective to
Okay.
cut a knife in particular.
So you stab him right in the thigh. As you do, the blade sinks in, and you hear him. Merci beaucoup. And in sudden flash of this sticky red mist, he disappears.
Oh,
Well, we know his noble, right?
that was a thing.
He's doing that
Okay.
weird magic thing.
Has he left anything behind?
Stickiness.
Other than
Yeah.
that?
Other than that,
Yeah, it's all over my hands.
this is never getting out of this fabric.
Well, you had to draw blood, huh?
What were you planning to do with that sword you had?
Oh, I was going to
tear
put
off
it.
his limbs.
I was going to put it to his neck, and then, while I'm close enough, I was going to rip off his mask so we could see his face.
I'm not sure there's anything behind that.
Well, we would have found out, huh?
Maybe. Maybe. Not.
Maybe.
We
didn't
could
find
always look for the
anything.
bloke that's limping around.
Is there anything else in the cabinet that he was in previously?
So yeah, as you go to the armoire,
Like go into that, yeah, that thing, armor.
so as you go into the armoire, you see scratched into the back of it many different knife cuts, almost like somebody had time for this. As you look with little dots of red next to it, drip, drip, drip. How the crimson magic runs dry is carved into the wall with little red drops. Kels, from down the hall, as you had to come out of the room, you do see this red mist just sort of seep out of the doorway.
Perhaps I do not want to go in there after all. That seems terribly messy. I don't even want to know what they've been getting up to in there. I am suddenly questioning the help that Una wanted.
Yeah, I think we're good. You can probably go back to doing what you were doing.
Doesn't
Ooh.
bear thinking about.
I mean, you are welcome to join me.
Hard pass.
Fair. Tell me, this red mist, I mean, I've seen the likes before, of course, but,
You have where?
no matter.
No, I think it does matter.
It does matter.
Pretty sure it does.
Well, okay, not exactly like this.
Then more like,
This is blood, right?
Is this an innuendo?
I think so.
Is this not blood?
It is. It smells metallic and it's sticky. It's not fully viscous. It doesn't linger for long. Like there might be some little bit of spray. Like for instance, Rhiannon and Layla and Gregory definitely have sprays of blood on them.
Yeah, this is not coming out easy.
Una, you pretty much just got only like really the smell of it. It sort of had all evaporated by the time that this had happened. But
I mean, I commend you. Most people are put off by the bloody season, shall we say?
Just go back to Josephine.
Just go back.
Au revoir.
Out with you.
Sure. Grigori's gonna turn to Una. The sorcery. It uses blood to power it. Is that right?
Yes. Specifically, noble blood.
And is this the kind of effect it has? Layla drew blood. Was he then able to them? Were they able to escape?
I want your cat.
Cat,
I'm
Leave
trying
my microphone
to
alone.
see his kitty.
Stop it. You're breaking the immersion. Go away.
A cat wanders up to Gregory. A little blue
Out
ribbon
of nowhere.
around its neck. Lingering from the hall, a striped cat just kind of sits at his feet. A little wooden name tag says Pierre.
I'll hastily step back.
Okay.
There's only one cat I'm interested in, and that's the ship's cat, which keeps away the rats.
Alrighty then.
All right.
So anyway, blood magic, fueled
yeah.
by noble blood.
Did everybody see the inside of this, the armoire thing? This message? Somebody else, please look at this. Just, yeah.
So yeah, you see carved into the wood with little red dots. Drip, drip, drip. The crimson magic runs dry.
I gotta be honest, it didn't look like it was running dry. It seemed to work perfectly fine.
Well, maybe there's some sort of reserves or something for magic blood. I don't know anything about magic at all, really.
Well,
aside from rumors, of course.
we were talking about this whole blood magic and needing the blood of nobles. Maybe that's why these nobles have gone missing. Maybe they have some sort of connection to the sorcery link in some way, shape, or form.
Maybe it's a non-nobles found out. Needs to
Or
keep
they're
the...
being used
Like,
as
does it have to be their blood they're
Yeah.
using, or can they just like nab some noble's blood and just...
It
I don't know how it works.
you would,
Just
you
throw
would
'em out.
know it generally has to be the person whose blood is flowing through their veins. It works for them alone.
That's probably a good thing.
Una would be able to have that knowledge at least.
Oh, you can't do it to somebody else. You'd have to do it to yourself.
You can take people along, but you won't be in control of it. Well, the passenger can't be in control of it ever. There's no such thing as a backseat driver, if you will.
Huh.
So, I have a feeling that this isn't the last time that we'll be seeing whatever that was.
He was definitely connected though. He had the bell. He had extra of those bells, like the non-bells, the bells that were not originally bells. The one that we have, I think you've got it, Una. He had more of those by the looks of it. And so I'm willing to bet he was the last person. He's got whatever happened to Gabrielle connected to him. It might be worth trying to scope out the rooms of the other nobles if they'll let us in to see if they got a similar bell. See if it's actually the same connection.
They might not let us in while we're covered in blood.
No, but that's why we've got that guy, right? Kels? That's why we have him? Distraction.
I mean, it's worth a try. We need to use him for something.
Exactly. Figure we just keep throwing him at women. It'll be perfectly fine.
Doesn't just have to be women,
True.
from what I've heard.
Fair enough.
He's not prejudiced.
Perfect.
Does
Even
not
better.
discriminate.
Love it. Even better. That'll work even better as a distraction. So that's my thoughts, is see if there's more bells and then see if there's more creepy men hiding in armoires. It's the best lead I've got.
Hopefully not the latter. Does that every time we walk into a room, some creepy dude jumps out of some hidden
It's
place?
fine. It's fine. We'll go into town and we'll get a giant burlap sack, and next time he jumps out, we'll just stuff him in it.
Perfect.
You're like a really
That's
dark
what
Santa.
Yeah,
we're on.
that's right.
I'm thinking very
Basically,
Nightmare
my
Before
character-
Christmas.
My character is a combination between Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas and Santa from The Guardians. Enormous,
Yes,
Russian,
Perfect.
and can teleport. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm so glad. Oh. Yep. What could possibly go wrong? So, yeah, that sounds like a plan of some sort. So, town, giant sack, break into other people's houses, use cows as a distraction. See
I'll
if there's
just
more
stab him
cows.
for it next time.
No,
Okay.
no stabby. Just club him.
I think club and run away with to see if we can try to interrogate. I don't know how much information you can really get from someone like that, but we've got nothing to roll with, so
Yeah,
I bet I
works.
could get information from him.
hopefully.
Okay. So,
As they're discussing this, Una starts rummaging through the closet looking for some sort of sword belt.
okay. You do see about some other kind, but as you are rummaging through,
Or really anything else of interest too.
yeah, you do see a crumpled up note.
She'll pick it up and read it.
Okay. This crumpled up note, it says, "My dear Louise, I do not mean to frighten you. I hope you understand that I have always been truthful and honest with you. But I fear that I am going mad. A clown has stood at my balcony 2 nights now. He has disappeared every time. I could swear I'm awake, but this is stupid, Gabriel. Get your head out of the clouds." And the rest is scribbled.
Well, you knew the clown was coming.
Oh?
Well, he saw it. 2 nights in a row, apparently.
Oh, fun. Well, if he was sleep deprived, I can understand why now.
Yes.
Huh.
Bit clowns to keep you awake.
Yes.
Huh.
Gotten there from blood magic, as we've seen. But why?
There's a lot we don't know.
Obviously, he's got some sort of... There has to be a pattern we're not seeing here.
It might actually be worth, instead of going, to each individual house and bringing a sack and using cows as a distraction to find if there's any bells, it may be worthwhile to go to that soiree tomorrow night. See if we can get in, talk to the noble families, see what they can tell us.
Yeah, but the sack idea sounds really fun.
I love this sack idea, to be totally honest. I still think it's a plan that we'll need, so
We can do both.
we can.
We can take the sack to the ball with us.
That's right. I'm not going to get in as a noble or someone trying to fake it as one, but I can get in as one of the caterers.
A caterer that has a giant sack with him at all times.
As you guys are discussing, suddenly a scream comes from outside the hall.
Oh.
Loud, shrill, and abrupt.
What kind?
Right,
Uh,
let's just kill
It's
Josephine.
always worth checking.
It is coming from Josephine's room.
Cows?
Cows!
God damn it.
Well,
Not sure.
Had I
You don't
made it
need
to her
alcohol
room by
in?
this point? Like,
Yeah, you most definitely would have. You as you retreated.
okay. I'm gonna
I'm-
set off in a run towards the room.
Okay.
I'm gonna not
Prepare
quite
my
walk
eyes.
there because I want it to look like I am trying to help, but at the same time, I'm a bit worried. What
Yeah.
we're gonna walk into.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be first. I'm gonna be
Okay.
behind Gregory.
As you guys sprint down the hall, as Kels has probably been back there for all of 5 minutes.
Well done, sir.
The door opens, and more tasteful censorship as Josephine sees that you guys are here, there is suddenly the ruffle of blankets and fabric. Kels has been pushed out of the bed. A platter of fruit and such falling with him, as he now stands, well, rather lies on the floor. How clothed are you right now, Kels?
I'm not.
He's not. Just as I expected. Elementary, my dear Watson. Kels is naked.
Can I help you, Gregory? You are interrupting something.
My apologies. And I immediately step back.
How was
turning,
it? Gregory?
turning around and embracing the door.
Is
That's
she
not for
okay?
us to deal with.
Yeah. I take it there is nothing dire.
There's
No.
nothing
Perfect.
that can unsee that.
You just remember the only thing that burns into your mind is hair. And a lot of it.
So much.
Yep.
So handsome.
You know the classic, like the classic picture of like the baby that's like naked on the bearskin rug. It's almost like the bearskin rug and the baby are like one solid entity.
Oh God.
Mats of
Which image
curls.
is going to
Mats of.
stay in my mind more, the clown or the hair?
You are welcome.
Thanks. That's gonna be there for at least another week now.
I'm not gonna be able to sleep.
Oh.
Okay. Well, I think we should maybe retreat.
Get you
to upstairs.
alcohol, I think. I think might be the best remedy for this.
Not enough. No.
I mean, we could go see if there's room service with those rooms that they've booked us. That comes with it. So, see what we can throw on the tab.
Okay. So, Gerard is more than happy to give you guys a carriage ride back to the Renarly.
Yeah, should we just leave Cal's there?
Yes.
He knows. I like how there was no hesitation there. Yes.
No.
I'm sure he'll make it back wherever he needs to go.
He
Yeah.
finds his way places, so I think he's okay.
He
Or
undoubtedly
someone
has.
shows him there in chains.
He's
basically just Gandalf. He arrives exactly when he's meant to.
he never arrives late or early,
Oh.
but exactly when he means to.
And yes,
I'm
I
not the
know.
bad guy. I didn't
Crazy.
come up with salty spray, okay? So you guys arrive back at the Renarde Lee after a fairly quiet, uneventful carriage ride.
Oh, that's
I
good.
hope so too.
No more burning people on
Laying there like,
rooftops?
ah.
Nope. Nope.
Oh, God.
But I'm not even going to
Oh,
look out the window just in case.
Why did I click on it, Scrap? Why?
Oh no, no! Oh,
What happened?
I'm not going to.
don't
I know about
it.
click it. Don't take
Okay,
the-
everybody. Oh no.
No.
For those of you who are watching the VOD, please go over to the chat, and you guys get to be scarred like we do.
Don't do it.
Um,
Don't
Don't
just
do it.
don't.
And you know what? Screw it. For surviving all that, you all get another extra hero point.
Hey!
And chat, you guys get hero points too for dealing with that
Surviving that
bullshit just there. Um, So, the Renardi is quiet when you return.
Oh, that's
The patrons have still not been able to return, as the entire place is booked simply for you guys. There's a single bartender there, a Montaigne woman. She has red hair. It is done up in a couple of neat double buns. She's clean if you guys. She says, welcome back. Your rooms are upstairs. If you need anything to drink or eat, the Forniers have paid for it already. So
Wonderful. Round of
I-
alcohol of some sort.
The
Absolutely.
strongest you have,
And most expensive.
and hastily.
undoubtedly.
More for the big guy. Lots more for him.
And if there is any questions, if there are any questions, you just go ahead. Don't hesitate to call me. My name is Claudia.
Lovely. Thank you.
And she turns and begins pouring more alcohol for you guys. And your night of drinking is quiet. And the remnants and echoes of the night behind you slowly fade away into the darkness. So you guys rest peacefully. Your dreams take you to places, things you wish for, things that you want to become, things you wish to aspire towards, things you want to run away from, and things that you are constantly yearning for. Except for you, Rhiannon. As you hear a voice in your sleep.
Oh.
But this voice you've heard before. The noble and mysterious voice speaking to you in your dreams. He comes, noble one. The burning one comes. I can feel his call. Stepping through the void of your dreams lightly is this sort of strangely nondescript figure clad in armor. The face, rather than having the normal human features, it is a blank slate, but chiseled, still handsome, almost like the beginnings of a sculpture done by a classical artist. Without its mouth opening, the armored figure says, "He will reclaim me if you are not careful."
Okay, I still don't understand.
A gauntleted hand takes yours. You will in time, brave spirit. You will in time. And that's where we're going to end Scattered Ashes for this evening. How's everybody feeling?
That was awesome.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
Tee.
Whew. Tee. I've seen what you've been putting in chat.
So
Alright,
many
TV.
windows.
See, like, at least I know that Scrat was having fun, because I finally figured out how to run chat and DM at the same time on a single screen. So I was on to you, sir.
Oh.
Oh, another link.
But so Scrat, do you want me to lead the closing introductions? Do you want to take us around? How do you want to do this? How do you want to do this?
Up to you, sir. Up to
All
you.
right.
Would you like to?
You know what? Sure. We'll go all the way around, pass it to me, and then we'll close out with you. How about?
Yeah, sure.
It's like I have an idea of what's going on now. So, oh, that's right. You guys switched in the middle, so I'm gonna kind of do this at random. So we'll start with Natalie. Go ahead and tell us about where we can find you, how Rhiannon's feeling, and did you have a favorite part?
All right. Well, I'm going to start with favorite part. I don't know why I like that creepy clown guy that jumped out of the armoire. I always find that crazy but ridiculous but cool. So I'm going with that as my favorite. How Rhiannon is feeling is freaked out slightly, a little worried, a little, why did I sign up for this? But yay, everything's paid for, so let's see if we can get ourselves into a fancy party and see what I can get out of that deal. I did not get to steal nearly as much this time. So, you know. As for me, I am Natalie Wallace at Chaotic Rogue Online. I am part of Chaotic Rogue Entertainment, so chaoticrogue.com. If anybody is free next Monday night at, I think it's 6 p.m. EST, there is a Rogues for Charity stream. We are playing Dragon Heist. It is literally a party of rogues playing for the Forging Heroes Society, which is a charity out of Canada. I'll include everything in the chat in like a second.
Yes, please do.
Will do.
Awesome. Going around the board is the very nondescript but mysterious Layla, or Jay as we know her.
Hello. I think Leela's quite enjoying it actually. She's been missing having some kind of sense of adventure in her life, so she's quite excited about that. Quite intrigued as to what's going on. Obviously, with her hometown having been at war for the last however many years, she's seen lots of sights over her life and wasn't overly phased by the creeping. A little bit kind of weirded out by him, but wasn't too phased about it. So she's excited to see what comes next.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'm Jay. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter under JBambi, which I think is up there. And I stream with Alexandrian, who I don't know which way to point, is somewhere. Him, the waving guy, somewhere around there. So I stream and Twitch a lot with him. If you keep an eye on our Twitter, I write on there quite a lot. I always put when we're going live and other random stuff.
Awesome. And then bringing it around to our, well, now appropriately seated Arasavad or Una. Hi.
Yes. Hi. Una is quite freaked out right now, but at the same time very intrigued. And she definitely cannot wait to figure out exactly what's going on with this, because it's obviously something with nobles. And you know, that's kind of her thing. She's got to figure out how to get her goals done too, and we will see more about that later. But I'm Eris Savad. I play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, and actually tomorrow you can catch me on Mini Terrain Domains Twitch. I'm going to be playing a dragon wormling who is trying to escape a basically underground orc horde. So that's going to be fun. I also, my baby project. I have organized a multi-stream schedule. You can find it on erisavad.com, and then you click on TTRPG stream schedule. And it's essentially a spreadsheet that has over 120, I think we're close to 130 different shows across all sorts of different channels. So if you want to know who's playing what and when and where, you can find all that there. And there's instructions on how to use it there too. And yeah, you can check that out if you want to see more of what's going on. I do believe this channel's on there too, so you can check that out. Oh, and I make dice trays and stuff.
They're amazing. My wife has one. Like, that was an immediate birthday present. Go do that. Go to arasavad.com.
Do you ship internationally, Eris?
I do. I'm on vacation at the moment because personal life stuff happened. But I this week am going to restart working on my outstanding orders, and then once I'm about a couple days out from finishing those, I will be reopening. So that should be coming up within the next about 2 weeks or so.
Cool. I'll have to keep an eye out. I think it's about time I got me a dice tray.
Yeah.
I'm going to order 30.
Send me an email or something, because
Oh, and we'll get a supply chain going, I promise.
I'm taking
No, I know.
I do make every piece by hand. I even cut out the labels by hand, so it's a process.
Amazing work. It's amazing work. And then Alexandria.
Hello. So Grigori really doesn't like that guy, that whatever he is. See, I knew it from when he popped out in last week's session. I was like, no, something doesn't sit well with me. And then here he is again. And as time's going on, I just want to pull his limbs off, like all of them. I'm going to turn him into a ragdoll, I've decided. So, yeah. Other than that, favorite bit. Just the awkwardness. The awkward conversations between Kells and pretty much everybody are just brilliant. It's so good. Plus, obviously, the ship and Una. That was well
Oh, yeah.
played. Well played. So yeah. Again, and it's an amazing session, and it's an amazing system, and I'm having an absolute blast. It's great. So as Jay said, wherever she's that side, I think. As Jay said, we stream together on Twitch with that username up there, and we stream probably 3 or 4 times a week, give or take. But it's best to follow us on Twitter. We've got a horror game kind of theme thing going for October. So if you're into any of that and you like watching Jay jump and usually drop whatever she's holding, then
There's
feel
a
free to
great
stop
video
by.
of me throwing my e-cig across the screen.
Yeah,
I think we were
that's
playing
right.
Outlast.
Yeah, we were.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
It's
I
fun.
feel your pain.
it's funny. So yeah, that's us.
Awesome. You know, I was born in October, so anytime anybody uses the word October, you may as well be saying birthday.
When's
So
your
it always has my
birthday?
The
Mine's
25th.
25th.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
okay.
yay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody write that down. Everyone in chat, write that down right now. Oh,
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
so-
that's actually a Tuesday as well.
holy crap. That's amazing.
It's not. It's not.
Oh, my
Oh.
god.
That's
Thanks.
How dare
You're like,
you.
you know what? I want to spend my birthday with you guys. Thanks, Scrat.
I'm spending my birthday with you guys.
Oh, okay.
Are you?
When's
Yeah.
your birthday?
16th.
Ooh, lovely.
Of October?
Yes.
Yes, and that is a Tuesday.
Yes, that is.
Is.
That's awesome.
Yay! Somebody's hopes aren't getting.
Also
being-
October, baby, the 13th. Won't be a Tuesday.
No kidding.
Gosh.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, this is insane.
See, Libras
Why?
were the
Yeah.
best.
Creepy.
It's not creepy.
Uh,
Libras are the best.
Libras are the best.
All right.
Period.
Scorpio all the way. But before I hand it back over to the mustachioed wonder himself, let me play myself out, I guess. Hi, I've been your dungeon master, Archmage Derek, or as you guys might know me, Derek. God, my favorite part. Ooh, anytime that I have to interact with Kels is amazing because it is a testament of what exactly is the structure of this world. Because even for somebody without the ability to do magic, he's just like, why, hello. And it's like, all right, well, whatever. What do you want? Which you'll see. You will see, and I'm not lying to you when I say that. Yeah, you guys are so just wonderful as your characters. You all just carry yourselves so like naturally, and like the juxtaposition between like you guys and then finally your last member that is Kel showing up is great. I love the way you guys are engaging with the story. So it's just all so much fun. There's so much potential here. It's awesome. I feel really great about the whole thing. And so where you can find me. You can find me on Twitter at archmage_Derek, or on the magecollege.wordpress.com, where I and my wife at It's Kana. If you like the overlay that you're seeing with the stream right now, that's actually my wife's work. So find her at It's Kana on Twitter. ITS, and it'll be in the chat, I promise. And also recently having joined our team is Tahina Andale, who you might know from the Wizards and Wardrobe show earlier today on Tuesday. Yeah, that's Tuesday. So together we create awesome 5e material, articles and stuff, and sometimes I occasionally write for that handsome mustachioed man over that way. Yeah, so that's pretty much me. I write, I stream. Oh, and I'm also on Mists of Sire on Mondays. Still getting used to this. I'm really bad at this still. But without further ado, thank you guys so much. Scrat. That way.
Now,
I think
my perfect Sunday. My favorite part is watching you all squirm. I feel like maybe I'm not spamming the safety tools enough, because pretty much every time I open my mouth, every time I do that, I love seeing Alexandrian just wince every time I bust the shirt open. It makes me so
I just
happy.
can't help it. It's just so attractive.
Did everyone else in chat look at the second picture that Scrap posted?
Oh,
If not,
no.
you should. You should do it. Scrap, repost it.
I'll tell you what, I'll repost it.
No,
I'll
why?
repost it. Why
No,
not? There you
just-
go. It's a beautiful image. It's a beautiful image. It's beautiful. That's one of the
I-
things that I was using when I drafted drafted Kells. It's actually Burt Reynolds rather than Thomas Selleck, but it's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. As for me, I am the mustachioed wonder, for now.
You're gonna wake up without a mustache one day.
Well, actually, that might be tomorrow, because I might be going for something a little bit different, very soon. We'll see. Because I've got, you know what? I've cosplayed this one a little bit, and I might cosplay a few other shows in the near future. But I can't do many cosplays, especially as quite a few of my characters are female, with a great big moustache.
They could be having a bad day.
I mean, yeah.
Dwarves would like to refute that.
I don't play any dwarves, though.
Well, maybe you should.
That's true. I
Maybe
used
your
to play dwarves.
character is cosplaying as a dwarf.
It could be. It could be. Anyway, you guys, there are my social links. Discord, if you're not already a part of my Discord community, you should be, because it's absolutely fantastic, and I love it. Twitter, you guys can DM me there, and I'll get you into one of our free viewer games a week. We have about 48 spots left in the rest of the season, so they are going fast. We had around 200 spots, and we've filled about 3/4 of them, so get in quick, and we'll get you a game. And YouTube, we are catching up rapidly. I'll probably catch up with the rest of this weekend. We are now full-time. We very much appreciate all of your support. Thank you all for being here and supporting the show. You can see our monthly cost at the bottom. We're doing very well on that. Actually better than I predicted, so thank you all very much. We also have Patreon, which is another way we can get supported. I'm currently working on the Patreon goals, trying to update them a little bit because they were very, very out of date. And I also need to update the Twitch stream as well. And now that I've settled in and I'm not moving and stuff anymore, all of those updates will start coming in and we'll start looking like a professional stream again. We also have merchandise. If you want to get your very own Scrat hoodie or t-shirt or anything else, you can get it there. Or if you want maybe a pair of tights or a miniskirt or an A-line dress, it's all there. There you go. We also have support in the form of sponsors. Our brand new sponsor, Bird in the Storm Publishing, sponsoring this show at the moment. There is their links in chat, and they will be creating some content for us in the new year. So keep your eyes posted for that. We're also talking with Mage Hand Press about a couple of sponsorships as well. So things are going very, very well. I'm feeling very, very happy. Thank you all for all of your continued support. What else do I need? Let's see. Merch thing. Oh well, the war cry so far. The salty spray is docking. I think is the best war cry we could use for a raid ever. So that'll be happening.
Yes.
The tweet's done. I need to get the competition set up. So let's get that in chat before we get there. In 1 hour, we will be back with The Curse of Strahd, DM'd by me, featuring Madame Gandalf, OBB190, my beautiful wife Alice, and the wonderful A. Kelly Lane, who some of you may know from her Twitter rants about Wizards and Wardrobes. There's the non-hype version, and here is the hype version for the raid. If you want to make it a funny colour, you can press /me to begin and then do it, and it will come up whatever colour your name is. So let's go and give wonderful Madame Gandalf a raid, and also stick around for her raid response, because her raid response is a thing of legends. Like we have a decompression session afterwards, and we always end up waiting for her raid response to end before we even start talking, because it's just hilarious. But when we get in there, I want to see the salty sprayers docking, with or without hype. You know, smoke them if you've got them. Everywhere in chat, the salty sprayers docking, and let's hit them hard. That raid cooldown is cooling down. We are, like I said, full time. Monday to Thursday, we stream 1 PM, 6 PM, and 10 PM EST. On Fridays, we stream at 1 PM EST over on the Greyhawk channel, and then 8 PM every other week on here playing Lady Blackbird. And that is this week that we are doing that, so we look forward to seeing you there. Right, let's get over there. I want to see the salty sprayers docking absolutely everywhere. Let's just get into that. Well, I'm already subbed, I think, so I don't think I need to wait for adverts. I don't need to wait for adverts. Fantastic. So let's get in there. Keep evoking emotions, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.